are so glad you are back with us for the Brentwood Academy podcast. This past fall, BA had the opportunity to welcome the United States men's national soccer team to campus as they trained for an upcoming competition. The visit was kept under wraps in order to keep crowds away, but the experience was pretty special for our coaches and team as they hosted and watched the most elite soccer team in the nation train. Listen in as BA soccer coaches Phil Masters and JD Binger share more about the experience.
Hello, I am JD Binger, and I'm here with Phil Masters, the head of the BA boys soccer team. And we're going to talk about an awesome experience we just had here of hosting the U.S. men's national soccer team on campus. Phil, can you just give us a little bit of an overview of what went into that and what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So October 9th through 12th, 4 days, Monday through Thursday on fall break, we had the U.S. men's national team come out for camp. And at first it was going to be kind of this off the bus, on the bus type thing where they just used our field, and it just quickly expanded into pretty much, that they used everything from the 7th grade den to the rock to the field. And it's just a phenomenal experience to be able to host one of the top soccer teams, not only the top soccer team in our nation, but one of the top soccer teams in the world. Just really incredible as both a coach, to see how they run their sessions, and also as just a lifelong fan of our national team. I mean, I think we've talked about this, just, that professional teams come and go a little bit, and especially in the soccer world, but I know both of us grew up huge fans of the U.S. Soccer program, so being able to have them there was it was incredible. So yeah, that's what happened, and again, yeah, still processing a lot of the things we learned, a lot of the stuff we saw them do, even the equipment they're using, just finding ways to take as much as we can, squeeze as much as we can out of that experience. It's really, really incredible stuff.
So yeah, you've already kind of alluded to it, but this idea of you're a lifelong soccer guy. You played here at BA years ago, and then you went and played in college, and now you've been coaching ever since. And what does that mean really for someone who maybe doesn't kind of understand the U.S. men's team and what they're about? Why is that so significant? Why is that different from just like hosting any kind of pro team?
Yeah, so as you know too, we've had the opportunity to host several teams over the last few years. We had, I guess first recently we had the Canadian men's national team come through, and then for the World Cup qualifier here in Nashville against U.S. Soccer, and then Club America before their game against Nashville SC. So we've had a few teams on there, but the U.S. national team in particular, since they are in their own country, when they go to a city and they set up for a camp, especially a 4-day camp, they get the top choice of any facility in that area. And so for them to come to Nashville and say, "Hey, we want to come to Brentwood Academy," that gives, that's an incredible statement for our facilities, and also just the way that our staff and faculty work to provide and support for the teams that are coming through. So our facilities folks are incredible, and the way they've taken care of our field lets us go, "Hey, here's a high school field that is world class." And when U.S. Soccer was picking their spot, like they came to us, which is incredible. So yeah, again, what makes that special? It's the top group. I guess you got to back up to talk about international windows a little bit, right? You don't want to get too technical, but
you must.
Yeah. So you have all these guys on their pro teams. They're playing for a variety of teams around the world. You've got everywhere from teams in Italy to England to Germany to MLS teams as well, right? And FIFA sets up these international windows throughout the year. So international teams like the U.S. or England or Italy, wherever, those countries can have their national teams play together, right? And in some of those windows, they have tournament play, and in some of those windows, they have friendlies, basically scrimmages. Scrimmages with the expectations of a nation behind them. So there's always something at stake. These players are playing under pressure constantly. They've got hundreds of players just dreaming to put on that jersey. So everything's evaluated. And so when they have that international window, they go to a city, usually have a camp, and then go play a couple games. And in this case, they were looking for their 4-day camp before playing Germany and Ghana. So trained 4 days with us, flew up to Connecticut, played Germany, and flew back and played Ghana at NSC Stadium at Geodis. And yeah, that's how they ended up with us in that international window. And
okay, but like, how do we even get on their radar?
yeah. Odie Smithson is the short answer there.
There he is.
No, but Odie is one of our coaches on staff. We know him both. We both know him well and love him.
He's probably the most connected soccer individual I know anywhere.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Godfather, basically. I mean, he's super involved in, Tennessee Soccer, the organization at the state level, and U.S. Soccer nationally. And he's kind of put us in line. He's a big fan of BA Soccer. He works really hard for us to help grow our program and grow the game locally. And when we had a few opportunities to host, I mean Canada in particular, I think we talked about that putting us in line eventually, maybe hopefully to host U.S. Soccer someday, because that would be such an incredible experience. And Odie texted me, I guess, about 2 weeks before, fall break, and said, "Hey, I've got some." I think the text actually just read, "You ready for this?" It's like that's an odd text to get from Odie. So it's like, yes. I guess so. I
Maybe.
guess so.
Find out.
Yeah, and so then he said U.S. Soccer, October 9th through 12th, and we talked a lot after that, and was put in touch with the manager for U.S. Soccer, and he came out for a site visit, and I think that they were planning on practicing at Nashville SC's facilities, and then
which are incredible.
Their new practice facility over in Antioch is phenomenal, and they had some training conflicts, and Greg Berhalter, their head coach, didn't want to adjust their training times and wanted a place that could facilitate 4 days at the same time. And when they were asking about local facilities, there are obviously some other places that have hosted them previously. But one place that was consistently recommended was, hey, Brentwood Academy, won't find a better field in the area. It's like, hey, that's pretty cool. So when we brought the U.S. Soccer's manager on campus, he told me about those recommendations. Like, hey, we know you guys have hosted top level teams before. We know your field is really quality. So just want to see it myself. Want to see what it would look like if we did come here. So it was decently last minute for an operation of that scope and quality, and so it was an unusual circumstance for them and for us. And as they as the U.S. Soccer staff came on and saw the rest of our campus, they're like, hey, I think the moment for me, we walked into the Rock, into the weight room, and their guy was like, whoa, like I could call Greg right now and tell him this is the place. This is phenomenal. And just, as a BA alum, I love this place. Like, I'm so proud of BA. Like, having other people enjoy it and having other people come on campus and go, whoa, this is awesome. Like, that's like, I love that so much. So it was pretty exciting, not only to just have that happen, but then to have it happen with an organization that I followed my whole life, U.S. Soccer coming in and going, whoa, like it's like an intersection of two things I love. And then walking around through the 7th grade den, they're like, hey, this would be perfect for our team meetings. Like, we're in a hotel conference room. Like, this place is like, this is incredible again. Like, this is a school. And just having that reaction consistently throughout the campus. Like, yeah, it's a school. We're blessed to have these facilities. Pretty incredible. Love to share them with you guys if we can help at all. And he took pictures, took a ton of pictures around and sent them to the staff. And like, he's texting me the next day, like, yep, the guys are pretty sold on the weight room. Guys are pretty sold on the, all those different elements. And then, you fast forward 2 weeks to when Greg Berhalter and the players all get off the bus and walk into the 7th grade den, and you hear Greg Berhalter going, whoa, this is incredible.
It was super cool.
That was like, yeah, we work here every day. And here's a pretty high profile figure in U.S. Soccer coming in and just going, what?
Well, one thing I'll never forget is open up the Rock on day one when they get here, and the players are going in. And first of all, it's just like, it's surreal, right? Because you're seeing guys come in who are only people who live on a TV screen, right? Like, you know who they are because you've seen them so many times on TV, and they're incredible players, but then you see them in real life, and they're just filing past you, right? Yeah. And I remember one of them walking by, talking to one of the other guys, just goes, man, like, I'd love to go to school here. I wonder if they take 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
We might. I don't know. We'll talk to Dan Wilkerson about that.
Right.
Admission pending.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm a soccer guy too.
Yeah.
I fell in love with soccer watching the 1994 World Cup. It was the U.S. men's national team playing, and we made a great run. I'll never forget all those players who became like heroic figures to me. Kobe Jones, Alexi Lalas, Tony Miel. I mean, that old guard and those sweet jerseys, the Stars and Stripes, those were super cool kits. But that's the background of all this for me, is like, this team is just so special, so unique. And so being able to see these guys, the faces change over time, but the crest, the jersey, I mean, like, that's what's special, is like they always are representing America. Yeah. For you, when you look back on the experience, what were some of the highlights, the things that you'll really just hold on to in years to come?
I mean, I think when we had the site visit, Sam, the U.S. soccer guy, he's talking to us about, hey, we talk about the purpose of our team being to grow the game in the United States, to grow the game of soccer. And he said, we realized pretty early on that's just a nebulous thing that doesn't really mean anything if we're not specific with it. So he said, hey, when we come to a place, when a place hosts us, I don't know how many high schools have ever hosted, the U.S. soccer program ever, like in the U.S. like this for a 4-day camp. I don't have a number for that, but it's typically, a pretty unique chance. So he said, wherever we go, that team, the program that hosts us, our focus isn't just, hey, let's grow the game nationally. It becomes, let's grow the game at this place while we're here. So he said that, and I mean, you hear a lot of things before you host teams about all the, how they're going to work with you in open access. We have some stories about that, right? Just some seemingly promised open access that didn't end up being that open at all.
The deal has changed. Pray that it does not change further.
With previous teams. So, when U.S. Soccer came in, didn't know how much that was actually going to play out. And then they show up, and I mean, they follow through on it. They really were intentional about, hey, what questions do you guys have? Everything from strength training to talking about how they use GPS tracking with performance analysis. Just all of those questions, how they time their sessions, how they, manage all the different details that go into running a smooth session. I mean, we noticed some things too, just by observing, just the way that it's just a well-oiled machine.
Water going on in the field to not waste practice minutes so no one's coming off.
Yeah.
You don't have that transition.
Right. And everything's set up, everything's moving.
Super efficient.
There's, really just the lesson planning of their sessions was, as a teacher and a coach watching, like, wow, they're scaffolding everything really well and really clearly and communicating it, and use of everything from whiteboards to, even just the little different cones they used. We're like, those are awesome.
Those were super cool cones.
Yeah. So just all of that, all of the practical soccer knowledge, but also how seriously they took the charge of representing the country, and how it was like every single one of those guys, top to bottom, from the the media interns all the way to their star players, they're all really aware that, hey, this is, we're representing something bigger than us, and we want to make sure everyone has a good experience with that. So all the conversations around that, as far as, the most memorable things, definitely some practical, helpful things for my coaching and teaching and just thinking about the game, but also, watching those guys personally handle the pressure and the spotlight they're under. That was pretty special to see that. I mean, they were all, we talked about how down to earth those guys were, and how open they were to questions and conversations. So again, I don't know. I think you had some good conversations too with a few of their staff members.
I thought their staff, like that was a highlight for me, how open and friendly the staff were and how they were eager to share of their vast knowledge and experience, because it's not like they're about ego. They were about being helpful, and they were really kind towards us. And we're just an open book with all the questions that we had about training. Some things I think about with that, like our players' experience coming here and being a part of that, and even Cam Petty connecting with their keeper coach. Like, I just love to hear just really quick tell about that story. And then,
that's a cool one.
Maybe Henry Hill becoming sort of their mascot.
DJ Henry Hill, is that what you said?
DJ Henry in the house.
Right. So first starting with Cam. What year did Cam graduate?
Class of, we've been here a little while.
class of recently.
Class
Cam Petty.
of not that long ago.
5 or 6 years ago. Yeah. So Cam is a fellow alum, and he's helping us out with our soccer program coaching. Keepers and our JV team. He came on, and I mean, he showed up. Like, I didn't even know the backstory with him and the U.S. keeper coach, and he was just fired up. So I guess Cam at some point just found this keeper coach, I think through some different connections, and had been watching his training sessions for a while, right? And was just kind of a student of this keeper coach. And the keeper coach was recently named to the U.S. staff, and this, his first session with the U.S. keepers. And if there's one thing U.S. soccer does well, it is producing the best keepers in the world. I mean, that's just like, team quality can go up and down, but we've always got like some of the best keepers in the world. So, so it's a big, high-profile position on the staff. So they bring this guy in, and his first session was on our field. That's his first session ever with U.S. keepers, and Cam's there, and he's just like, "Oh, this is my guy!" Like, this is
Cam looked like a boy on Christmas morning. He was just eagerly beaming. It was fast.
And to be fair, like the keeper training, as someone who
stole the show, man.
Yeah.
It was the most exciting part of that training session to watch.
I mean, just the action, the different dynamic movement things they were building in, and
those guys were beasts out there.
The sensory limiting. I mean, they're using earphones part of the time, and then goggles that kind of prevented seeing clearly. They were just putting obstructions in the way the keeper as they're doing these really dynamic drills. That was incredible. While passing's happening, it's just like shot stopping from 10 yards out. With Matt Turner and the rest of the guys. So watching that, Cam's super pumped about seeing it in person, and then he also had that connection. Cam coached at Belmont for a while, and one of his keepers there was at a previous school and had an injury, right? A potentially career-ending injury. And at some point, he just lost interest in the game and went ahead and messaged Matt Turner, right?
Wild.
Yeah, the U.S. starting keeper. And said, "Hey, any advice for guys going through an injury, whatever?" And Matt Turner responds, high-profile athlete responds to this guy. And so Cam's there, and Cam tells me that story. I'm like, "Hey, you need to go snag Matt and just tell him that story." And so Cam grabs him and says, "Hey, Matt, just want to let you know, meant a lot to this guy, coach, that you reached out to, or you responded back to him and encouraged him to stick with it, and he's still playing college soccer as a result." And I mean, Matt Turner handled that so well. It was like, "That's awesome, man," and
Matt Turner's so cool.
I mean, that's one of the guys we think of when we talk
kind.
about like guys being grounded, down to earth.
Yep.
Like, that's definitely one of the top guys that comes to mind right there. And he gave us a nice interview too at the very end, right?
Yep.
Great video about players who are starting late, because his story is phenomenal. I mean,
it is.
These high level guys, most of them, like, I mean, they start playing soccer when they're in diapers still. And and Matt Turner comes along. Was it 10th grade? Is that the story? Like,
yeah. I'm not quite sure exactly how old, but late.
High school. His friends talk him into coming out or something like that. And so he's like, "Sure, why not?" And then next thing you know, a few years later, he's like starting at Arsenal. He's at Nottingham Forest now, right? Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, really, really incredible story. And every year we've got guys coming late to the game too. So, great guy to give some words of wisdom to some of our guys.
And then tell me a little bit about DJ Henry. What?
DJ Henry. Yeah.
What happened with Henry?
Yeah.
How did he become their favorite player?
So I guess the broader thing too is that we, part of the cool opportunity that we had was to bring our players in, and whoever was still in town for fall break, and say, "Hey, obviously they opened up Tuesday to us completely. So players were there the whole time watching the whole session, got some sweet autographs and pictures afterwards. But also every day we had players volunteering for just different things like holding the door in the rock, holding the door in the 7th grade den, greeting, making sure everybody knew where they were going. So just a good way to get the players, really close to some big time players and coaches and stuff, and just around the program, and watch as much as they can.
Yeah.
And Henry Hill volunteered, and he was stationed in the rock in the weight room. And I think a few guys, including Yunus Musa, like some other, I can't even remember the other players in there, but there's a whole group of players, and they're having trouble connecting their phone to the Bluetooth speakers in there. They're like, they're just having trouble for whatever reason.
Henry Hill to the rescue.
And Henry Hill to the rescue. So he's just standing there minding his own business. And I'm pretty sure it was Yunus Musa, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I wasn't there. I was elsewhere. So
well, so he's like, hey, do you know how to set up your phone? And Henry's like, I don't know how, but my phone's set up, like something like that. Like mine is. And they're just like, okay, can we have your phone? So next thing you know, like they're making a Spotify playlist on Henry's phone. Henry's standing there just like, this is awesome. So
that's a core memory for Henry.
Yeah, Henry, he's going to remember that one for a while. So just being able to have our players have those little moments, those little run-ins that, it's just when we have the next World Cup in 3 years, Henry's going to see those guys playing. He's going to be like, hey, I still have the Spotify playlist on my phone from these guys. So just really cool way to, to have these guys interact with soccer at the highest possible level in our entire country. Not only they don't have to go somewhere and get backstage access to something or like field passes. Like, no, it's like, even for me, like this is the field I grew up playing on. And all of a sudden, like here are these guys like playing on that field. And for our players to see these guys, like this is where we train every day. It's not just good enough for us; it's good enough for the U.S. soccer team. Like that's a significant
who's
statement.
been guys who are playing all across Europe and other parts of the world. I mean, we're talking about serious soccer players.
Yeah, and serious expectations for facilities and everything else. Yeah. I mean, it's not exaggeration at all to say, hey, we have world-class facilities.
Yeah,
because like that's what this means. We have a world-class team that said, hey, this is awesome. This is good enough for us.
Yeah.
Well, okay, there it is. And when you're around it every day, like you don't see it that way. You see it as like, this is a great field, but you don't see it as like, Berhalter walking in the 7th grade den. I walk in the dens every day. I don't stop and go, like every single day. And so when you have someone new come in and do that, it's like, thank you, Lord. Like this is really phenomenal. This is incredible. So just that whole picture, just at every aspect of it was really incredible. I know. We had so much help. That's something that I think is worth talking about. We had so many people coming in to help. We had Daryl run around the Segway with his little son,
Yep.
his 1-year-old son on the front pack, and also Tom. Like, did I tell you about Tom lining the field? Like that?
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, he's
Tom
out
coming
there.
in saving the day.
Yeah. The Friday night.
Parents coming in and helping out.
Yeah. Friday night before they show up, Tom's out there with Pete, and he's lining the field with, I think it got dark enough that they had their phone flashlights out, and they're just like, they're trying to finish this lining because, U.S. soccer had very specific dimensions they wanted to match the friendlies they were playing. And so Tom's making it happen, with by the light of his phone. And I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen Tom mess up on a line once in my entire life. But
Tom has a couple superpowers, and that's one of them.
Yeah, he is
backing up buses and lining fields.
If you could fit a field on a canvas, there would be multiple canvases.
He's the Rembrandt of field lining, without a doubt.
Yeah. So anyway, at all of that, just seeing our community come together, and by the end of that week, U.S. soccer going, hey, that was incredible. That was a phenomenal experience. Greg Berhalter coming on camera and going, this was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was worth, every minute of all that.
Yeah.
So,
you no doubt lost some sleep, and you worked a lot to make that happen behind the scenes.
It was,
delayed a family vacation, no doubt lost some family points. But I think in the end, it was super worth it. Obviously, the personal experience is super cool, but the opportunity for our community to be part of something like that, I think, is invaluable. And opportunities going forward surely we'll continue to expand with experiences like that, where we can show professional teams, the best of them, that this is a great place to come to practice, to use the facilities. It's, as you said, world class.
Yeah, yeah. It really is. Just when you're in the day-to-day grind, it's so refreshing to just take a step back and see that. It's been a consistent thing too. Like I remember hosting Club America, and their guys get off the bus and they're just like, "Hey, what pro team trains here?" It's like, "Oh, no."
You're like, these.
Yeah, like no pro teams. It's a school. Like, no, it's not. It's not. What any other teams? Like, no, it's a 6th through 12th grade, and
we've got a pretty amazing group of people around here who keep these facilities looking incredible.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
We are very blessed here.
Yeah. Flip it over to you. What was something memorable you took away from the week?
Again, just being able to watch sideline of all that's going on for a practice, all the behind the scenes work, the army of staff that the U.S. men's national team has, the specificity of all the individual roles and how they're all working in coordination. But I'll just never forget opening the door and watching these guys file into the rock. It's Serginho Dest, and it's Christian, and it's Tim Ream, and it's Matt Turner. It's just guys that you've seen compete and represent America at the highest level, and who will be doing it again soon. It was surreal. It was surreal to see all that. So I was grateful to be part of it, but really impressed with how you were able to organize, manage, communicate, and turn that into a really awesome experience for them and for us.
All hands on deck.
Yeah,
all hands on deck.
Major kudos.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of support. I mean, everybody was involved, right? Athletics department, facilities, parents, students, and that was what made it so special that the whole community got to experience that. And hoping we've got another World Cup coming in 3 years, and it's in the U.S. And so that's going to be incredible to see how our relationship with U.S. soccer keeps going, they're going to be stationed in Atlanta, obviously during the World Cup, but I think it'll be really cool to, just memories aside, like thinking about having these guys here as they're competing. Also, if there are any opportunities to host teams that are training in Nashville before the World Cup, I think that'd be pretty cool to continue exposing our guys to highest level of the game, really. And I think to maintain those relationships with some of the coaches and different training staff members that we connected with, just to see what kind of grows out of that. I think it's super exciting. Yeah. Good days lie ahead for Redwood Academy and for the boys soccer program, I think. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate the time sitting down and talking through this. It was fun just thinking about it again and reliving a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Thanks.